And welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. That's why we're doing it once again on the Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you're just joining us today, thank you for joining me once again. From the beginning, if you've been with me from the beginning, shout out to you. It's been a few years. If you're just joining us today, thank you for joining us. Where can I find these videos? On Instagram, if you like. Follow me there. Subscribe on the YouTube channels. That's right. That's where you can get the full-length videos. And then check out patreon.com/RobSedgwick if you like to fiscally, financially support this show and get it going, baby. Together, it's one tiny little step at a time. And we did it. It's the end of 2025. Here's 2025 behind us. And that's where we like to keep the past. Sometimes we like to be behind the past as well. It's like the year is behind us, but that doesn't mean that we're exposed. That doesn't mean that we're just getting on our knees and arching our backs and taking it from the back from the year before. We'll put the year ahead of us and we'll give it to the year. We'll be the ones who are pounding, fucking right there. 2025 is over. Say that one more time. 2025 is over. It's done with. Congratulations, wherever you are tuning in from, whether it's Canada, or whether it's down south in the United States of America, further down south, Mexico, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, South Pole, over there in Zimbabwe, over there in India, over there in Senegal, over there in Nairobi, Finland, the Finnish people. It's never over till it's over. Welcome back. It is the new year, baby. It is the last day. Did it just, did we plan this so that the episode falls on the New Year's Eve before I don't know. Is it a coincidence? Maybe, but nonetheless, it's a time where everybody's, you're about to wrap up the old vacay. You're enjoy yourselves if you're taking time off. And some people took time off. Now, am I gonna say don't take the time off? Am I gonna say look at those guys and gals sometimes maybe taking some time off? But that's what it is. Not here to point out if anybody's taking time off or taking time on, but just remember, if you like, when some people took vacations to attend to their personal well-being, whether it was through spending time with their family and friends or just taking some personal mental health days. It's what the youth would call it, or just some time for themselves to recoup. There was one guy who came through, day in, day out, midday in, midday out. In the afternoon, he came in, and then he came out. He put it in, and towards the evening, in, and then he pulled it out in the evening as well. Nonetheless, 365 days a year, baby. And if you're doing that shit, oh, the real ones that fucking bleed red, baby. You know what I'm talking about. And the ones that, okay, fine, everybody bleeds red, but there's probably what's your blood type? Can you give blood to everybody? Are you positive you can? Doesn't matter. Do you have AIDS in your blood? Can you still give AIDS if you've got AIDS blood? Can you take the blood, remove the AIDS, give the blood? That's neither here or there. It's the new year is what I'm trying to tell you. The old is out the door. 2026, 2025 was a hell of a year. Lots of ups and downs, lots of exciting events. You may be just it's a New Year's resolution, this shit. Maybe you've just been on that resolution path for the entirety of your life. And that's the way I like to go. That's the way I like to operate. No, one day, I don't just get up just because it's the New Year's and say, oh, it's the New Year's resolution. Got to make some change. We're always making changes. I've swapped my nipples. I switched my nipples. Did that? I turn it. I turn them around. You don't want to, because that's how you get lopsided. If you don't switch, it's just like tires for your cars. So I switch my nipples, and that's change. I switch it every year. Left replace right, right replaces left, and that's how you keep shit balanced. Some of that feng shui on your body. Some of that fucking tai chi shit. Keep it tight. What are you even talking about? I don't even know. It's the new year. It's the end of the year. All right. So we're here. We're doing it together. Having a bunch of fun again. If you've just joined us today, thank you for joining me. If you've been here for some time, thank you for being part of my life and letting me be a part of yours, man. It's ladies, to the bitches out there. Let's get a sip of this shit. I don't even know where to begin, to be honest with you. I'm like, it's been a lot actually over the past few days. Been taking in a lot. Been, doing the old, self evaluation, going through things. But nonetheless, lots to. I had a dream. I'll start. I didn't even particularly want to talk about this, but I had a dream. I remember another great man had a dream. Another man who was very similar to myself. Another black man had a dream once, but my dream was different. It wasn't about. I forget his dream, to be honest with you. Something about youth spending time together, I think. But I had a dream about Michael Jackson, which was weird, but in a good way. I met Michael in my dream. It was weird, and in a good way. He was sitting down somewhere. I was in and around the vicinity. He got up and kissed me a couple of times on the cheek. Nothing, no homosexual activity. Not just like he kissed me on the cheek. It was something that was twice or three times, I can't remember. Kind of like, it was nice though. It was nice. I'm like, oh my God, Michael Jackson just kissed me on the cheeks, like a beautiful European or a beautiful Middle Eastern fella just fucking smooched me on the. I don't know what is it with dreams? Why Michael? Why Michael Jackson? Why did he come into my dreams? Who knows? Doesn't matter. The point is that I had that dream. It was weird, but it was also nice. I'm like, fuck, oh God. Wish I got to meet that man, but maybe I still can. If I've heard the rumors. I don't know. Maybe he is alive in Dubai, just fucking, buying gold bars at a shopping mall dressed as a lady. Who knows? But nonetheless, that's neither here or there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get right into it. Let's begin our show today without further ado. A big story this week. It's the end of the year. People are talking about it. Everybody's like wondering what's going on. Some people, we kind of have a clue of we know what's going on. It's the Somali community, and so some Somalians in the Somali community in Minnesota, beautiful state of Minnesota. They are, it's that Somali daycare scandal that's been popping off. If you wanna be at a, you gotta ask yourself at the end of the day. I have a Somali daycare that I've been running for some time. It is a Learing center. It is definitely a Learing center. And that's the motherfucking problem, is when you try to do something new, people jump and start pointing fingers and start asking questions, things that, people are afraid of things they don't understand. And you're just trying to be out there, you're trying to learn and Learing, and you're trying to leer yourself, and you're trying to be leering others, and it's the youth, and leering the youth is extremely important. But people are, is this a daycare or not? It's a daycare. It's definitely a daycare center, and I've been running mine for some time, for a few years now. Been taking in millions of dollars worth of taxpayers' money, and some people have some questions. They're like, we might have showed up at your daycare center, and we want to ask a few questions. In particular, where are the kids? And everybody's all concerned about the kids. All of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, where are the kids in your Somali daycare center? First of all, as a Somalian, I like to say that this is again, if you don't know, just simply ask, all right? I'll gladly answer your questions. You're wondering where the kids are, because this is, after all, it is a daycare center. And it's a new type. And this is not to be, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the sign says Learing, because aren't you supposed to be, it supposed to say learning? No, it's new, it's Learing. It's the new pedagogy, or the new pedagogy, all right? So you ask simple questions, I'll answer them. And you're wondering where the kids are. The kids said, this is, again, it's a new teaching method. We take the money, we get the kids in the neighborhood who want to come to the daycare. We don't actually let them in or have them all. Ever walk into a daycare or drop off your child at a daycare and it's just filled with kids? Ugh, what old pedagogy. What, that doesn't work. How's your child gonna get any attention? They're not, you know what they're doing? They're probably smoking meth now in the 5th grade. You know why? Because of that crammed learning center. We're with us, we focus on Learing, and we don't even ask the kids to attend the daycare, and that's where the learning really begins. We hand over because a lot of times old school methods was like, oh, you got the teacher, you got the students, you got the daycare facility, you got the, staff members looking after the children. How are they? Let me ask you this. Again, it's a new pedagogy. Please, before you start asking all these ridiculous questions as to where are the children, how are they going to be learning, we're not focused on that. We're trying to give them responsibilities, put the onus on the child. Go out there and leer on yourself, and then at one point or another, if you like, come back and share what you leered. All right. Otherwise, we could continue this cycle for this cyclical sick behavior that's just sending kids to daycare, getting them ready for preschool or school or after school. It's a sick cycle, and something needs to change. So this here at the Somali Learing Center is one of those first steps. And yes, a lot of people are like, oh, this is totally a scam. It's and we get it. Haters gonna hate. You're like, why didn't I think of that? Why not just, prop up a shop and call it a Learing Center? Well, you did it. It's our thing. We do it. We take pride. Every community has their own. Find your thing. This is our thing. All right. Find your scam. Every community within the melting pot, within even the, Canada, United States melting pot, mosaic style, whatever you want to, everybody has some sort of scam. Run yours. All right. It's not a scam. And honestly, I'm taken aback by all this, but at the end of the day, I do also understand, but there's leering to be done for everyone. Everyone can leer. You're never too old to. We are even actually thinking of expanding the daycare facility. We want to take that same model and apply it to higher grades and education, grade 1 to 5. Same concept, Learing centers across, not just the state, hopefully nationwide, hopefully global. We do want to make it global. Grade 1 to 5, and then 5 to 8, and then 8, and then 9 through high school, and then university, which will all be done online. And again, that is higher Learing, and that's in the works though. And yes, we are seeing a little bit of backlash, and this is typical. Again, people don't understand it; they want to come and question. So I just want to let you know that the money it's safe and sound. It's people are living good, people are healthy. No one got hurt. A lot of people are, scamming. I don't even like this term, but a lot of people, when they do fraud, whatever that means, people end up getting hurt. In this case, nobody's been hurt. So find what works for you. Stop, pointing your dirty little fingers as to, why did this happen? Or who's behind all this? Where's the money going? And are your kids not leering or what? Ask yourselves that. Are your kids not leering or what? I mean, really, this is a moment for us all to come together. Who gets it? Who gets it? Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. She gets it. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. You know what she did? And she, a lot of people can go against what we're doing here, but some people like Peggy show up and they show, and it's not that she could have done more. Of course, she took a step to show a little bit of solidarity with the Somalian community by wearing the hijab or the hijab, and that's and you could do that. Although if I'm being completely honest, we would have liked to see a little bit more. If you're coming in to wear the hijab to show solidarity with not just the Somali community but the larger Muslim community, you could do more. The hijab is just like, we would like to see full face coverage if we can. Full face coverage. I'm talking niqab. I'm talking if you could minister a child bride wedding, that would be, again, this is not just for the Somali community but the larger Muslim population in the way, because again, if you're like, oh, I'm showing solidarity, but either do it properly or don't do it at all. Okay, so get your, I don't know how it works in terms of like ministering, weddings. I'm pretty sure you can take an online course quickly and be able to get people marriaged up, get that license quickly. But then, if you want to show support, some child marriages would, conduct a few of those. All right. If we can, find some child brides and, you know, just sell them off in an auction somewhere, and that way you really should. But this is, again, it's a but so learn from Peggy. Although she could have done more, she could have done way more. We're hoping that she resumes the rest of her, you know, I'm hoping that she'll, you know, when she's walking with any male figures in her crew, whether it be family, friends, you know, acquaintances, I hope she fall back, bitch, walk in the back if you really want to show support. And really she gets, because at the end of the day, if she really wants to show support, do children really need education and learning? Specifically, girls, if you know, if you really want to show support to the Muslim community, just, you know, remove women from learning and leering centers. Although, you know, but again, one step at a time. It was a good solid effort. But no, that you could be like Peggy Flanagan, who gets it, or you could be some naysayers who are hating on a good business model, and everything is, you know, pretty much everything in life man created is pretty much a Ponzi scheme. So just get on yours before you start, you know, get yours. Don't be like, you start up your own fake business, start a fake deli, all right? Start a fake real estate agency, sell homes that don't exist. Homes, but like spelt with an L, you know, homes, like, you know, and it's different. Try something. That's the thing. The old is in 2025 is behind us. The new age is here. So get yours and be like Peggy out there. All right. Fucking start being supportive. God damn it. I don't want to hear any negativity. I don't want to hear any sort of none of that. It's done and over with. Wrap it up. What else is going on? Beautiful news. I heard about this one. And a 6-year-old autistic boy, I forget where he was from, but nonetheless, somewhere in the US, somewhere in the, was it the US? I'm pretty sure it was the US. 6-year-old autistic was rescued for the second time, ladies and gentlemen, because he's autistic. He's infatuated with water, and this is the second time the police have rescued him. He goes and just wanders off because he's got that fucking Rain Man brain. He's just, who knows, but with water. I don't know what he'll do with it, but did it for the second time. And I don't want to see this happen again because, you know, God forbid anything, you know, so you don't want to, you know, because that's dangerous. You don't want the child to go out there and hurt himself. How do we mitigate this problem rather? Put a bell on him, put a leash on him. I've said this before I've seen parents who put leashes on their children when they're just crawling around. I've seen it. I'm not a big fan of it, but in certain occasions like this one, put a leash on him for a few years until he, you know, develops a little bit, matures a little bit more, and hopefully we can figure this. The second time, you know, you're not gonna, again, put a leash on this boy, please. Or, you know, fucking track him somehow. Track him. It's important. It's very important. Put a leash on him. This is a gift. He will go on to mostly infatuated by water at the age of 6, probably going to be taking over the world by the time he's 21. You know how it is with these autistic babies. They fucking focusing on one thing. Next thing you know, it's AI and data centers in space orbiting Uranus and fucking, you know, finger blasting you from fucking out there, man. They're doing it. So all I gotta say is, yeah, track this boy, chip him. If I were, I'd chip that baby, which actually kind of bleeds into the next story, which is kind of somewhat related simultaneously, or, you know, within a few days apart, different parts of the country. And a Texas man rescued his 15-year-old daughter who was kidnapped by a 23-year-old creep who held her up at knife point. And the father, you know what the father did? He went online using his phone, and then you know what he did? He tracked his girl. He went on his phone, and you know that find my bitch phone. And you have it on your phone, and people have it. You can track. You just track my bitch app. It's the track my bitch app. He had that He found his little girl, and that's wonderful. So learn, the other parent over there with a 6-year-old autistic baby. Put a phone, you know, a lot of times people are like, what age should I give my baby a phone? Depends. This one's fucking loose out there. Put a phone in his pocket, track his little ass. So this father, this Texas man, very similar to, it's like a Taken movie here. This is like, you know, fucking, you know, I'm a specific guy with a bunch of different skills. I can type 100 words a second. I can keep my eyes open for a really long time, or blink a lot of times. I can also do that. I can crack all my knuckles, sometimes twice. I'm a specific guy with generic skills. I like to wear socks that aren't too tight around the ankle because you don't want to cut off blood flow. I'm that guy. You go around messing with my family, pal. I'll put on my suit that I use to come out and track people like you sick son of a bitch, and I'm wearing all sorts of suits, and there's no buttons or zippers, it's all Velcro, because I'm a specific kind of fella who likes Velcro. Easy to get into, and even easier to get out of. I'm that guy. Generally speaking, I don't even like wearing suits. If I find you, I'm probably gonna be naked. I'm that guy. I'm a guy with a certain set of random, specific, and generic skills. Sometimes I like to go to massage parlors and ask the masseuse to sit down, and while he's giving a massage to other people, I'll be like, step aside and I'll massage people. I'm that guy. Certain set of skills. Sometimes I like to just low-key fucking make food and not even eat it. I'm that guy. I'll make food and I'll just stare at it until I get hungry, that is, then I'll eat it, because I'm that guy with a certain set of specific skills. Generally speaking, I'll come after you even if you don't take my daughter. Do you want to take my daughter? I'd love to come after you. I'm that guy. So this is very much, you know, it's Taken vibes. He went out there and he tracked this son of a bitch. Tracked this son of a bitch and found him, grabbed his daughter with a knife, put her in her truck. Daddy went online, Find My Bitch app. You got to get that Find My Bitch app on your phone if you don't have it. And this is, I guess, it's a beautiful story because he saved his daughter, but low-key also, it scares me because I'm like, oh man, with kidnapping still happening and going in now, 2026. This is just another selling point for the chippy chip. Where's your bitch? Let me find her. She's got a chip in her, uterus. Who knows? But the app paid off. The app paid off. Congratulations. Now the man was half naked in the truck. I hope that I believe he's getting 5 years for kidnapping and 2 years for inappropriate relations with a minor. I'm not quite sure. Hopefully nobody got hurt. Hopefully he got him as he was just about to get naked or was just getting. Hopefully I don't know more about the story, to be honest with you, but I don't know. Did he? If I don't have a daughter, but if I had a daughter and she got kidnapped and I track your ass using my Find My Bitch app, I'll have 5, 6, 7 of those apps on my phone and her phone, and I'll find you. And if you're half naked, I will release my daughter and I will get in that car with you and I'll get naked. Maybe I'll get half naked like you're half naked. Maybe then we'll have awkward moments of just staring at each other half naked. You're asking yourself, do I put it in the drive or do I put it in a park and try to escape? Try to escape. Good luck. The doors are locked. The doors are locked. The keys, I swallowed them. Guess what? You're getting it after I take a shit inside your car. Find the keys. Sort through the shit and try to find the keys. Next thing you know, I'm 3/4 naked now. You're still half naked. This is getting awkward, pal. You want to take it off or what? What's going on? Am I the only one who's going for full naked? All right, fine. I'll take the lead. I'm now naked, fully naked, and you're still half naked. Quite awkward, isn't it? And you're getting some of that shit if you mess with my daughter, which I don't have right now, but I plan on doing that if it happens later in the year. Who knows? But what I learned, again, Find My Bitch app should be adopted by most people. If you've got it, good on you as a parent. If you don't have 5, 6 of them, low key. I know you don't like giving, nobody likes giving their kids phones early, but maybe don't give it to them, but duct tape it to their back so they don't even know they have it, but you fucking track their ass. And that's how you stay on top of it. This was beautiful. Nobody got hurt as far as I'm concerned, and that son of a bitch is long gone. And I feel like kidnapping a child should probably get more, no? 5 years, that's it? Good behavior, 5 5, and then there's 2, 7 with good behavior. He'll be out in like 4, maybe. I don't know how it works. Who knows? Maybe you get in prison yourself. Maybe you get in prison yourself and you just fucking, you make his life a living hell while he's there every day. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Congratulations to everybody that made it through 2025, and it's been a wonderful year, full of exciting events. What else is going on in and around the world, man? I believe this one's a beautiful, wonderful story. This one's a wonderful, beautiful story. It's about a 41-year-old named Susie Lopez, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm remembering correctly, she lives in California. Now, what's beautiful about Susie is it's the new year. It's about being hopeful. It's about being optimistic and never giving up. And you know who never gave up? Susie Lopez never gave up. Susie Lopez, 41, of California, just gave birth to a brand new baby, but not just any baby, ladies and gentlemen, to a surprise baby. Peep this. This bitch didn't even know she was pregnant. She didn't even know she was pregnant. She gave birth. What's interesting about this story is that she had a 22-pound cyst. A 22-pound cyst. So this 22 pounds, that is bad. And so she didn't even think she was pregnant. And so she's had this cyst, 22 pounds inside of her. 22 pounds is a lot of cyst. That's more than a cyst. That's plural cysts. That's like cysti. That's more than one cyst. 22 pounds of cysting. That's just, ugh. But she went in there, as she'd frequently go to her doctors and whatnot. She's like, I've been getting stomach aches and cramps. And they're like, it must be the cyst. And they do a scan or whatever. Next thing you know, boom, pops out a baby. Surprise, surprise. Apparently, she gave birth to this baby. And it's a rare occasion where the baby's actually not even in the womb. She's out of the tube, she's out of the womb. She got pregnant. And the baby wasn't even in the womb because of the pressure of the cyst. So this goes, again, I like to take this time. They removed the cyst, if I'm not mistaken. They took the baby. The baby's healthy. The mother is healthy. The cyst is also healthy, living its own separate life. And you can see it in Vegas 3 times a week. The point is that, again, never give up. She thought she could never give birth to another baby. She already had one previous baby a long time ago, but then she's, again, pregnant at 41. So never give up on your dreams, whether it's having a baby, starting a business, going to a Learing center and leering you some knowledge, whatever it is, don't ever give up. And I've heard this story. A lot of people, especially women, they're like, I can't get pregnant. I'm having a difficult time getting pregnant. We just can't get pregnant. This bitch got pregnant with a 22-pound cyst in her body. That's basically a sister. That's not even a cyst. That's a sister. That's a little miniature midget-ass sister in there. You know what I'm talking about. Shouldn't name her like Bridget or Nancy or some shit. But she had this cyst. The baby wasn't even growing in her womb because of lack of room. So I don't want to hear from ladies who are like, I'm too old. I'm too dry. My pelvis is too high. My fallopian tubes are not tubey enough. If it's meant to be, you will get pregnant. So keep on trying. I don't want to hear any of this like, that's not working. She didn't even give birth through a traditional method of having the baby grow in a womb. You don't even need a womb. A lot of people are like, I don't even have all the equipment for it. Just as long as, from taking a little lesson from this story is, you pretty much get the jizz anywhere near the badge at one point, or if it's meant to be, she will get pregnant. And simultaneously, conversely, on the opposite side of that coin, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be until it's meant to be. So keep pushing, just low key. If she's not getting pregnant, traditional method, just fucking come on her feet, dude. You never know. Because this baby didn't even grow in the womb. Just fucking next time you jizz on her back, don't wipe it off for at least half a day and then come back, see what happens. Next thing you know, it's just baby growing out her back, dude. Or better yet, for better placement, I'd probably just come on her belly. Just come on her belly out, because this baby's outside the womb. What could happen next? Come on her belly, do not clean it up, leave it there. And I'm telling you right now, you're like, I've never gone pregnant using a traditional method of putting my cock in her vag. Well, look at this bitch. Pregnant, didn't even need a womb, and you've got more than you need to get yourself pregnant. So don't ever give up, is what I'm trying to tell you. Be like Susie. While we're on Minnesota for a second, because I know it's been a big issue everybody's been talking about for some time. The state flag just changed as well. And the reason why this got my attention was just because I don't know why they changed the state flag, but apparently it had the iconography on the state flag depicted natives, as in Indians. There's an image of, like, they were doing native Indian stuff on the flag, and then there was an image and iconography of a settler as well, working the fields, and that was incorporated into the Minnesota state flag. And what you need to do is that, man, who caught some strays? The Indian iconography just fucking keeps catching strays. So what we need to is, and how does it happen? Did it offend any Indians? No, not that I know of. You know who it did offend? Liberal cucks. That's who it offended, and that's the word. You don't want to ever offend a liberal cuck. You don't want to, not even directly. You don't want the liberal cucks getting offended on somebody else's behalf ever, because that's, as soon as that's the fucking, that's how you get rid of, Indian iconography, whether it's on whether it's on a sports team, whether it's on a state flag, whatever it is. This is I don't even know how to deal. This is, I feel like, because what do they say? I don't even know how do you get rid of that? It was fine, and then they replaced it. They replaced the entire flag, and now kind of resembles the Somali flag, ironically, with everything that's been going on, with all the heat we've been catching in our community. I don't know if we need that kind of attention, but low key, it's because they're like, oh, the depiction of the Indian image is racist. You should, and Indians aren't saying this. It's liberal cucks who are getting offended on behalf of Indians. Dude, I'm just trying to figure this out. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance here. There's a lot of mixed feelings. I'm like, okay, the image of the Indians is offensive to whom? Because the natives, usually every person would like to have their image somewhere, and then you're like, but not the Indians though, not the natives. You remove their image because any image of them is racist. So we remove them and we erase them. So the erasing of their existence is, and that is some. I'm trying to figure this out as I go. I was having a difficult time, to be honest with you. I was trying to I'm like, what is this? This is some high level jujitsu. This is some fucking Krav Maga of mental gymnastics of, I'm gonna get offended on your behalf and find your image of you racist and I find it offensive, and therefore we're going to remove you from history and the state flag because I'm offended on your behalf. That is some reverse psychology, fucking, again, this is some, that's some Hogwarts shit. That is some fucking, I don't even know what that is, man. That is some, it's beautiful though. So don't ever, if I don't even know, it's like, don't ever let the liberal cuck get offended on your behalf, because next thing you know, you'll be erased. And that's and yeah, because having an image of you would be racist. And you're like, what if having no image and no representation whatsoever, isn't that more racist? If anything, I'm so confused. But nonetheless, now the flag resembles a Somali flag. Long live Learing centers. Hells yes. Hells yes, ladies and gentlemen. We did it together. What else is going on? Personally speaking, I'm been reading this book. It's a long book. Page 390 right now. We finished with the Exodus. The beautiful Jewish people came out of Egypt. Talking about the Bible for a second over here, because I'd like to try to recollect as much of it. This way I absorb more, and hopefully some of it is, Some of it is funny. Some of this shit is legit funny. And I'm leering. I'm leering as I go along the way. Page 390, Exodus is done. The Egyptians, the pharaohs finally not willingly, but they finally let the Jewish people go. And the Jewish people complained a lot during I'll say that. Jewish people complained a lot to God. Every chance they got, they're like, oh, we're hungry. Why did you have us leave? And he's like, just give it a second. Give it a second. All right, do these things and I'll tell you about my wonderful great powers. And I'm getting into the 10 Commandments right now. One part that stuck out before this is again, page 390, roughly, talking about the 10 Commandments, or beginning to get into, and we're talking, there's, I don't know who wrote this. Again, I'm not, part of it, it's again, it's definitely been tampered with, many great old, religious texts been tampered with human, you can see but then again, which parts of it have been tampered with, which parts of it are legit, original, less tampered with parts. I'm coming apart right now trying to figure this one out, because it's slavery was right in there. He says it. He says a bunch of things that are, God is wild, man. First of all, he's a jealous God. He says, I'm a jealous motherfucker. He said that, I'm a jealous motherfucker. Don't go out there searching for another one, because I'm the true one. I'm a jealous motherfucker. He said that. Not in this exact same words, but that's what I get from him. I'm a jealous motherfucker. Watch these powers. Oh, I'm jelly. Don't go worshiping other gods. He said, but then he brought in slavery too. And not just he's like, you can have slaves. And in addition to this, he specifically said you could have Jewish slaves too, which is because he fully takes credit. It's I saved you from the pharaohs because you were slaves in Egypt. I freed you. And then once they get freed, and then he gets to the part where he's discussing slavery. He's like, even if you have Jewish slaves, you can have Jewish slaves. Just you just freed them. You just freed them. So again, which parts of it are tampered with, which parts of it are, who knows what it is. But it's a lot of good leering to be done. I'm leering as I go along. But what caught my attention was there was clauses. There was many clauses when you're having your slave. Your own daughter could be your own slave. I learned that one too. You could sell your daughter. There's rules and methods of how to deal with your slave. If you own your slave and they slave for you for a few years, and then one clause that caught my attention is if you beat your slave and they chip a tooth or they break a tooth, that's a clause right there. They're free because you chip their tooth. It says if they break their tooth, once you beat them, if they chip a tooth, you got to set them free. There's a whole bunch of things that you got to do if they, you can set them free. And that's if you're back in the day, living thousands of years ago, all you had to do was chip a tooth to be free as a slave. But people, did they actually who interprets it to, down to, do people interpret the Bible? Some people might do it, word by word, verbatim, and actually, and you take that, chip your own tooth is what I would have done. I would have chipped my own tooth, kind of stick it together with a piece of, a little bit of honey or whatever, get into it with the master of the house, have him knock you in the face, chip tooth, you fucking take that chip tooth and be, open up the Bible and be like, I'm free now. Because of this chipped tooth, and that's all you had to do to get free back in the day. At least one of those things. That's a great clause, because that's, who cares? It's 2,000 years ago. Most people barely had any teeth anyway, so chip another tooth. What's the big deal? So that was pretty cool. But I'm leering, man. I'm leering as I go along the way. It's, so far so good in that sense. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. What else is going on? I believe 3 hikers died, which rest in peace. They fell, or I don't know what happened, to be honest. They were on Mount Baldy, somewhere in California. That's Mount Baldy. They fell, or they died as hikers. And that's the thing. I'm a hiker myself. Now, I don't go to mountains or anything, but I walk on a long distance on a regular basis each and every day. So I'm a hiker myself. I understand it, and people don't talk about it, but hiking is one of the most dangerous sports out there. That's why I partake, to be honest with you. You know me, adrenaline junkie. You know, the people might see me go out on hikes on a daily basis, and they're like, "Do you have a death wish?" I'm like, "No, I just like to live life fast." So yeah, these guys died. Don't die from hiking. That's the moral of that story. What could you do to not die on a hike? It's, first of all, I'm not gonna tell you to go hike or not. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not advocating for this, because it's not a lifestyle meant for everybody. You know, some people might look back and be like, Papa was a rolling stone, but some others might say that there was method to the madness. Maybe there's a little bit of, relief, or a little bit of, just a sense of balance that comes with going on hikes. But also there's so many elements out there wherever you are. Now, again, I'm a city hiker. I don't have access to, so that, but there's dangers always everywhere. So whether you're out in nature or the city or the country, wherever you are hiking, know that you are, hikers are the bad boys and bad gals of sports in general. Generally speaking, hiking is rated as one of the most dangerous sports out there. The men and women who pursue it have their hearts of lions. They soar freely like an eagle. They jerk off to the beat of their own drums, which is crazy because a lot of people can't drum and jerk off at the same time. But these guys and gals, you've seen the ladies that, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen a hiker lady, you've seen that bitch. She'll flick her own bean and play the drums at the same time. Some people say it's not possible, but others are just not understanding of what goes into the hiking lifestyle. It is precarious. It is one day at a time. You never know how it's gonna go. Like, you have a good idea most days. It's, you stick to a route. It starts with putting on your shoes. You ready for that? You ready for that shit? You ready for that lifestyle? The people questioning whether or not it's even worth it. People asking what gets you going, and how do you do it? What are you, crazy? You daredevil son of a bitch? Why don't you play it safe, like engage in boxing or the martial arts? And I say, there's sports for boys and girls, and then there's shit that's made for men and women. And that's where hiking is, for the real ones out there. So rest in peace to these gentlemen who passed away. Nonetheless, let it be a reminder that if you are engaging in precarious and dangerous lifestyles, sure, there's the thrills, there's the excitement, but there's also death behind every, around every corner, behind every garbage can, behind every, oh, what is that? Am I looking at a bunch of deer in nature? Have I come across, what's that behind them? Death. Death is hiding behind those beautiful deers that you spotted. Is that a whitetail? Yeah, what's behind it? Death. I'm just a city hiker. What is that? Is that a store that sells, like, candles? Behind that store, what is death behind that? So be careful out there, but also live life. There's a hiker's motto says, or one of the mottos says, one step, put that, one step in front of another. That gets you going. Ladies and gents, what else is going on? All over the place today. Really, all over the place. What else did I want to talk about? Talked about the beautiful hikers who passed away. Get sippy of the old caffeine. Get a little bit of this shit right here. Oh, that's right. Been reading about this article, and it concentrates on females. I know females are, man, shout out to the bitches out there holding it down with the whole, again, talk about the miracle of birth earlier, but now I read this article. It's talking about women. Some women, percentage of them, apparently reach a certain age, and these guys are relatively simple. The equipment's on the outside. It's not perfect, and some people even question as to why would you put sensitive equipment so explicitly on the outside, where it's just facing the elephants and the elements. But yeah, the women have the internal organs. But sometimes that, and you age, you can, sometimes apparently, like, premenopause, the cysts. And now I read something that's apparently some ladies, some bitches out there, they get to a certain age and due to different reasons, different stressors as they call them, whether it's, multiple births, just being a woman, the insides get loose, and apparently some women just leak. Some I didn't even know this. At a certain point, a percentage. That's a person who's into percentages. But a certain percentage of the female population just leaks out of their vag after a certain. And this woman, I read the article. It was about her difficult time going through her experience. She's like, I know what to do. They say do your Kegel exercises, but I'm too lazy. And I get that. I'm not even a woman, but I get it. If you gotta exercise, you gotta squeeze your insides. How do you even do that shit? You gotta do like 45 minutes or an hour a day. Who has the time? So this bitch said, you know what? Forget it. She went on walks, hikes, jogs, and she just squirted out pee all day, every day. And she was getting older. She wasn't even that old. I think she was in her 40s or something, but she just leaked. She just leaked out of her vag, and she resorted to wearing black clothing, black tights when she went out there, because she'd just be leaking out there. Embarrassing. But then she's like, oh, what do I do? After a lot of research, apparently there's a thing that you can do. And so I'm, shout out to the bitches out there, but this is, who's looking out for women's healthcare? This guy is like no other. Apparently, and I don't know because I'm not like a registered doctor anywhere that'll formally like recognize me, but I look to, again, it's all about Learing and growing. Apparently there's injections, it's called bulking injections. From what I grasp, it's similar to kind of like Botox, but inside your vag, like inside, like all the way inside, like in the walls. I think they just inject it. It's called bulking injections. So it fattens up the walls inside so that nothing leaks, and you can get that. Now it is painful, and I'm not advocating for whether or not you should do it or not. Again, I'm not a woman or a registered doctor as of yet, but now there is a solution. So if you're amongst the percentage of women, and apparently a bunch of you are affected, if you're just leaking out there. And now I say to this, there could have been a better remedy. Nobody, because as a man, I can tell you that one thing I love about women's is leaky puss. That's the thing. If this was my bitch, I'd be so happy she's leaking. I'd be taking credit for that shit. I'd be just like, let's go for a walk. And she'd just fucking piss herself. I'd be like, I got you. In my mind, I'm the cause of her wetness. I'm the cause of that moisture. But, if more women were just, if it was more accepted for women to just be a little bit more wet, but it's not. We're not there yet. Despite the fact that it's 2026, we somehow, hold on to these old school ideologies that women have to be dry all the time. And that's a goddamn shame, because like the number one favorite thing a man likes about women, top answer is squirting and or creamy puss, and any sort of leakage, really, any sort of oozing from the vag region is highly, appreciated by the male populace. So this, this poor woman just didn't want to exercise her Kegels, and I get it. And, you can only wear so many black leggings, and that's not you're still gonna drip all around. It's still gonna smell like piss, which again doesn't bother me none, but some people are like, oh, here we go, leaky bitch. That's what they call her. Leaky bitch Lucy, here she comes once again, leaking the old pisseroo all over the place. Way to go, Luce. Instead of getting down and licking it up and cleaning up the beautiful mess that she's made, but now there's a solution. You can get injected. Fucking it's like Botox for the inside of which is crazy, because, man, what if the inside of your puss never shows any more emotions? How are you gonna deal with that? What if, because what if my cock or anybody else's cock goes inside a puss and it's been injected with bulking substances, bulking injections, and my cock sees the puss, and the puss internally, it's got just a just a blank face, just a mono face, just one face. It doesn't get surprised. And then what if you jab it with your cock inside and you're hitting her G-spot or whatever, and no squirtage then? Can she still get wet through penetration is what I'd like to know. But nonetheless, there is a solution for it. So please go ahead and get it. If you'd like to, be a little bit less leaky, which I support your leakage. Women, you heard it here first. The only podcast to say we like the bitches who are wet. Okay? A lot of men are like, finish up, dry it up, get a towel. Not this guy. Not this guy. What else is going on in and around the world, man? Ladies and gents, I believe there was a Georgia fella, a convict of sorts, a suspect who tried to flee the police using a golf cart. It's admirable, actually. A lot of people are like, oh, what an idiot. He tried to flee on a golf. But before, again, you misread the room and misjudge the situation, I'd like to just say that this is innovation. This is a lot of people can just get away in their classic getaway cars, but this is beautiful. Having a golf cart as your getaway vehicle gives you ample amounts of space to do things with your hands because there are no walls. You can chuck things. I'm not saying do or don't. I'm just saying there's a little bit of innovation here, which is not typical in the getaway scene. You could, there's no outer barrier kind of like blocking you. Everything, you got access, so you can chuck stuff, chuck a drink. Whoever's chasing, whether it's cops or just like, your ex, your children who you're trying to run away from and not pay any child support to, it's whoever is chasing you. If you are getting away on a golf cart, it is kind of low key. It's nice. And the speed, it's much safer. It's not as fast. And that might defeat the whole point of is getting away really the whole point of getting away, So get creative. Next time you're trying to escape, flee the cops or anybody that you might be fleeing from, try to use something outside the box, something a little bit unorthodox. I would suggest scooters, get on a tiny motorboat. Nobody, these are wonderful escapes. Nobody gets on a unicycle and escape on a unicycle. That shit is, and then if they're chasing you in a unicycle, it would just, if you're really good at it, you can probably get away. And you know what a lot of people don't think about while they're getting away? Taking care of their health. If you run away, if you flee on a unicycle, the amount of abdominal work that you're putting into that fleeing sesh, well, it pays in dividends and later years. You might even get caught, but you'll be thankful you used a unicycle because all that core working out simultaneous is worth every penny. I would resort to get on a streetcar. Nobody escapes on a streetcar anymore. People don't do trains too. Nobody gets away on trains. I like to see a little bit of car chases are cool, but I like the fact that this was different. Now again, he did get caught, and that's not even the point. It's about the style points. The judges are extremely happy with this golf cart incident. We'd like to see a little bit more using animals to escape. If you find a large flightless bird that you can latch onto, one with, maybe an ostrich, maybe an emu, just fucking latch on and have them run around, frantically a little bit. That would be, again, for points in terms of style when it comes to getting away. This one was great. So shout out to you, both the suspect and the police officers, everybody doing their job. Again, it's the new year. Here's to Learing. Nothing refreshes my throat like a cup of joe. What else is going on in and around the world? I saw this one's fucking exhilarating, ladies and gentlemen. I saw this, and again, this one kind of bleeds into the next one as well. I saw this beautiful gentleman, and it's just different people doing amazing things. Now, this is another daredevil here, and I, again, as a fellow daredevil, this just touches my insides. in a good way, in a nice, consensual way. It touches my insides. It's fucking, it's rubbing up against my heart. Makes me all tingly. Low key, gets me hard if I'm not being, if I'm being honest. Talking about David and Reeve. Not sure where he's from, but he was doing this particular activity in Austria, specifically the Austrian Alps. He was speed flying. I learned about it's again, learning about new things is exciting, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Speed flying. It's combining skiing and paragliding. This motherfucker got on top of a hill in the Alps. There's a beautiful image of him. The whole video. Runs at full speed. He's holding on to his parachute and he jumps off a cliff, and now he's going down the hill at a completely insane speed, and that's why it's called speed flight. So he's flying a few feet above the ground while going downhill and maneuvering the hills. It's crazy insane. And again, as a fellow daredevil, one who partakes in one of the most dangerous sports known to man, hiking, one who does that on a regular basis, I see that. I'm like, oh man, the daredevil inside me sees the daredevil inside you. And I'm just like, man, we're pretty much the same. Although some say that, again, most people would agree that hiking and walking is, again, one of the most cutthroat, ruthless, dangerous sports anyone can partake in. And I'm not here telling you to go do things, but God, this speed flying got me going, dude. I'm telling you right now, again, I like different modes of transport. I don't know. If I have access, do I want to do it? Low-key, yes. Am I afraid I'm going to bump into something and break my legs? Also, yes. Does that terrify me? Yes. Does that make me lactate from my tits? Also, yes. Does the stress stop the regular flow of my period? Also, yes. Is it worth it? 100%. So if I one day see that there's equipment for speed flying, it's one of those kind of like a squirrel suit, but different. People fucking flying at high speeds above the ground. Just fucking, I hope nobody gets hurt doing this activity, but then again, same thing could be said about the most dangerous sport, which I partake in. Daily hikes, city hiking. I admire it. I just like people, that do different things. It takes balls. It takes fucking, guts, courage. Certain things I wish I could do. I did see I saw a beautiful fella. This is kind of related, I guess. Again, it's in the same, talk about things bleeding into one another today. It's in the same realm, I suppose. There was a beautiful video of this fella who's like a master parkour fella. He parkoured so hard. I used to watch parkour videos when I was younger, but this guy, I saw it, and it had been a while since I've seen one. And this guy was fucking insane. I'm just like looking, I'm like, he should be in the movies right now, doing fucking amazing. He's climbing walls like a little worm, getting into little nooks and crannies, and just fucking zigzagging his way up a little narrow little, it's like between crazy shit. I can't even describe it, but I saw that. Same with the old speed flying video and all these things, that I saw, just, they all shared a common thread with my own particular lifestyle, which is living on the edge and partaking in things that are extremely precarious and dangerous and wild. Street hiking. Shout out to you. Whoever's doing whatever, that's, taking a little bit courage, a little bit of bravery, a little bit of balls, a little bit of female balls. I'm talking like, long labias, female balls. Whatever it is, fucking go after it. It's 2026. Because life is short. If we've learned one thing in the past year is that many things come and go, many things change, and life is about having the courage to stand up and do something that maybe sometimes terrifies you. You know who did that? A couple of, who else is out there doing dangerous sports and activities? Two names come to mind: Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Shout out to both of them for that boxing match, which I did not watch just because didn't have time, to be honest with you. But they both made they both made a big bag. They both made a big bag, which is nice. Super happy for the fellas. I got a little bit, not gonna lie to you, I did hear about Anthony Joshua being in a car accident in Nigeria. It's thank God he didn't get hurt. Unfortunately, it does suck that 2 people did pass away. That portion of it sucks. Rest in peace. But again, I'm glad that him and Jake Paul both got to, keep boxing alive in a sense. Because I've not, I'm not a boxer. I'd like to, see more boxing. I am kind of jealous of the people who got to live through the era where Mike Tyson was fighting. I think but these guys are still doing their, so I like to see hopefully boxing evolve and, to keep growing, and hopefully more people want to be Learing, and hopefully we'll get to see some awesome fights. Some not to say that these weren't, they were great for what they were, but nonetheless. And you know what? You know what else we've learned? Is that again, people need to, we've learned that you stick to whatever you're doing, have a little bit of patience, work hard, have a little bit of courage. You know who had courage and who had balls? We've learned this. Jake Paul had balls. And apparently, rumor has it that his balls are growing, because I keep hearing this. They say Jake Paul's balls are growing. Apparently, he started boxing a few years ago, and people were like, man, we don't know if he's got the balls. And with each boxing match, his balls grew a little bit bigger. So he took on different opponents, and he won most of them. And little by little, his balls grew. And I believe he took an L one time, and to one of the Fury brothers. And his balls shrank a little bit on that one. But then he took on other fights, and he won those fights. And through winning those fights, his balls kept on growing and growing and growing. And this one last fight that he had, he fought Anthony Joshua, who's a legit heavyweight boxing champ. And because he faced this guy, his balls grew huge to an enormous size. And people are, and then he lost that one, but that's okay. But he really won. He won. And you know what else? His balls are still growing. It's low-key a little bit concerning, because I've heard about this issue. It's impacting impacts. I don't have the exact stats on it, but if I were to just pull it out of what feels right inside of me, it feels like 1 in 10 million people experience this, and it comes because of people who have immense amount of courage, people who are willing to take risk. Risk takers are actually more probable to catch this. It's not an infliction, it's not a disease, it's just big balls. But his balls are growing, and that's, I don't want to say we're concerned at this point. They are getting quite heavy. They've gotten large. They're expanding at a rate that we're not sure how fast they're expanding. I think Jake Paul's balls are getting larger and expanding at the same rate of the expansion of the universe. We're not quite sure. It has gotten ridiculously heavy now. His balls are actually, rumor has it that they're bigger than him at this point. So quite large actually. Just a few days ago, I heard they're gonna have to carry it with a naval carrier. That's how big his balls are. They set it off on an island just to rest a little, so that he could take the time to rest a little bit. The island that his balls were resting on top of, I forget which island, but somewhere in the Caribbean region, the island sank because of the weight, the weight of Jake Paul's balls. It just sank the island. So we're looking to see what we could do. Good news is, with the growth of the balls, the hair follicles actually grow too. But the good thing is, because the balls are growing, the space between the hair follicles also grows. So it's you might actually, a lot of people, might wonder where they're walking if they're out there in nature. Be careful, because you might be like, man, these trees are weird, and how are they? And it's not trees. You're not walking in the middle of a forest. You are actually walking on Jake Paul's balls, and because they're large, it's massive at this point, the balls on this kid, and the hair follicles resemble tree trunks, massive the tree trunks that resemble, or rather, the hair follicles that resemble the. So we don't know what to do with Jake Paul's balls at this point. Low key, if you were concerned about any sort of meteorites, any sort of 31 Atlas getting near us and making contact with Earth, who knows? But if at least we now know that there's Jake Paul's balls, we could use it as a cushion. You could, it is, and it's quite wild actually. People have, please, I don't want anybody hurting themselves walking on Jake Paul's balls and grabbing the immense hair follicles out and trying to pull it out. People have hurt themselves the past few days because of the sheer size of the hair follicles. Again, it's the size of those balls are just getting actually and it's growing every day. I'm not quite sure if it'll actually. We're concerned because at one point, if it gets heavier than the Earth itself and it sinks, if it shifts our, because it could have an impact on, if the waste, but we're still not there yet, but who knows what could happen until the end of the week into the new year. And if it weighs more than the Earth and, the changes are, rate of rotation, or, if it fucking fucks with our magnetic, poles, if it does something with our gravity, we don't know, to be honest with you, but at this, he's healthy, and everything seems to be fine. His cock is the same size, but the balls are just immense at this point. Same cock, and we don't know how this, but it happens. It's just one of those things. Some women get wet puss in their 40s or whatever. Some guys get huge balls, and there's nothing wrong with that. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Until the new year. Oh man, it's the new year. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, everybody. This is Rob Sadri signing out. I'll see you on the other side of this, of the year, on the same, we're on the same side. I'll see you on, get out of here. Peace out.